Another thing is when you don't have conversations about money, to me, this is a key one. It prevents teamwork.
Right. And in a relationship, you got to have the teamwork,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You got to be on the same team. You got to have a team vision and a team plan. Hey, we are striving to get completely debt free. That's our
Hmm.
plan. We want to pay off our house. That's our plan. We want to buy a new house. We want to buy some land and build a family estate. So the thing about it is now that you're having these conversations, you're working as a team. But when you don't have them, I'm trying to. I'm over here trying to pay off our house and you over here trying to figure out how to buy a bigger house,
Yeah.
for
And
example.
so we're not on the same mind. We're not in the same mindset,
Yep. Yep.
not on the, not on the same wavelength. And that causes confusion
So
and mistrust.
the thing about teamwork is something we used to do all the time. We've kind of gotten away from this, but we used to have what we call an annual planning meeting.
Yeah, January.
January,
Mm-hmm.
we would sit down. Here's our plan. Here's how we closed out the year.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the point we're making. You got to be really intentional. Here's how we closed out last year. Here's what we want to accomplish for the upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you might have at work or any business entity,
Mm-hmm.
in our little marriage entity, we'd have planning sessions where we talk about what do we want to do.
Right. I used to love planning
Sometimes
what
we go away.
vacation.
Sometimes we go away for our
Oh
plan.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We did do that.
Sometimes
Go
we
to
go
a
away for our
hotel
planning
somewhere.
session and we
Uh-huh.
talk about our trips because at the time the kids were small. We had 4 kids at home. And we always took at least one family trip a year, sometimes 2.
Yes.
And so, but I mean, those were planned, those were discussions. Where are we going this year? How much is it going to cost? How much money do we need to put aside? So, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that brings about, I mean, I love the shared goals because it brings about connection as well if you want to in the relationship.
Okay. Another thing, when you don't have financial conversations, then what's another problem?
It just increased anxiety. People talk about having anxiety around finances or whatever. It just breeds something's not right. Something's driving the anxiety on the financial road.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
and we don't need that in our relationship.
Do you think it's fair to say, and I don't know that it matters who's a primary wage earner, but do you think it's fair to say that generally speaking, men tend to shoulder that responsibility? So like I feel a personal amount of pressure. I have our whole 40 years of marriage that I have to provide for my family. Sometimes you've worked outside the home. Sometimes you've not worked outside the home. Sometimes you've earned more money than me.
Hmm.
Sometimes I've earned more money than you. But I've always felt like whatever that situation was, that was my primary responsibility. So when we talk about the anxiety and the pressure, do you think that men feel that more than women?
I do because I think God has given them that for He's given them in the hierarchy of what we believe our faith. God has called the man to make sure that he is the priest, provider, and protector of his home.
Priest, prophet, provider, protector. Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't say prophet, but
Well,
you
but
said that.
I'm adding that in. That's what I say. We're called to be priest, prophet, provider, protector. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think God is giving you guys that. It doesn't mean that you are making the most money or whatever. It doesn't mean but I do feel like you guys shoulder that.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think, of course, there are single parents who have to shoulder that as well. But yes, I think the man has been given that.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that the woman doesn't play a part there.
Now, this leads me to the next thing you want to talk about is when you don't have financial conversations, it leads to resentment. Because while I do feel like it's my financial burden, even when I wasn't working
Hmm.
and you were, I feel like it was still my responsibility. Now, here's what we're not saying. We're not saying that one person should be in charge of the finances.
Right.
The person who should be in charge, and when I say in charge, the day-to-day administrative duties of your finances is the person in the marriage and the relationship best equipped to do that.
Right. And even doing that, you are going to sit down and have some meetings,
Yeah, yeah.
along the way.
Because if you're managing the money, and we've taken turns about it, there have been times when you handle the budget entries and the bank account reconciliation. And there have been times when I've done it, but whoever is actually doing it, the important thing is the conversation, the communication. So even the other person out of the loop is aware of what's going on.
Absolutely. So just what does the team? What would a team do that like that? You know, I just thought about that. A team does that where you go out and you do all the practice work, whatever, whatever. But then, and sometime you guys come in to do a general session, right? Is that how that works?
So I mean, there are a lot of examples from teamwork. I mean, there could be like a coach, let's say a coach and the quarterback coming up with a game plan,
Uh-huh.
okay, in their individual meetings.
Right. Okay.
And then we come together in a team meeting to give the overall picture for the
Yeah.
game plan.
Yeah.
And then to tell each position group, like I played offensive tackle, hey, here's how your position group needs to help us execute the game plan.
Yeah.
Hey, here are the receivers. Here's the running back. You know, I was on the offensive side, so I don't use a lot of defensive examples. Sorry to my defensive guys, but yeah, that would be an example.
Yeah.
It's
I like
it's
that.
different pieces of the team all working together for a common goal.
Absolutely.
But back to what we're saying, you know what that required? We had team meetings day after day after day.
Absolutely.
Now we're not suggesting that you guys do that, but we are suggesting that you have team meetings.
Right. So it keeps down resentment in the relationship.
Okay. Also, when you don't have financial conversations, when you don't talk about money, you say, Teresa, it stifles intimacy.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, it anytime there's some type of discord, you know, in the counseling center, when I'm trying to get to a place, I have to move some things out of the way before I can get to the really core of the problem.
What is it?
And for
Okay.
instance, if there's let's just say intimacy, there's an intimacy problem. If I got a financial problem sticking out there, then we got to
I
figure
see.
out
Okay.
that. We got to figure that out before I can get the mind off of that so that we can go into what actually is causing the
Hey,
problem.
you know, I thought I understood what you do, but that example makes it clear. So what you said is sometimes people come in with a problem,
Right.
they think,
Yeah.
but it's really a symptom.
It
Hey,
is.
what's the problem? What are you guys here for? We're just not experiencing the kind of intimacy that we want to experience. That's what they think's the problem. But as you start digging deeper, it could be because here's something that's going on or not going on with
Right.
money, for example.
It could be money. It could be parenting children, you know, dealing with that kind of stuff. It could be being too busy. Someone's out of the house all the time. You know, that kind. It can be a lot of things. So I have to move all that out of the way in order to get to the core.
So you're doing real work in the counseling center.
Yeah, that's
I
what we
thought y'all
do.
just been there talking. So, okay.
We do talk, but
Okay.
that is not all of it.
All right. So when you don't have financial conversations, when you and your spouse don't sit down and talk about this, you also explain this, it delays critical decisions. What does that mean?
Right. From let's say spending plans or paying down your debt, you know, you're not on the same page. So it just is those are critical things to make things better. If you're not on the same page and doing them, we're just wasting a lot of time.
Okay, I got that. It delays critical
Yeah.
decisions. The other thing you say, Teresa, is that it sends the message, and I'm not clear. I want you to talk about that. You say it sends the message, I don't trust you with my truth. Now, when I hear the word my truth, I get a little nervous.
I know I do too, a
because
little bit.
I think about, because that's a big thing now. Everybody got
got
my
my
truth.
truth.
That's stupid to me. I'm more concerned about the truth. I don't give a
Right.
darn about
And we
your
get
truth.
we get the truth from our faith,
Okay, yeah,
from
yeah.
God Almighty.
So when you say, when you don't have a conversation with me about money, it sends the message, I don't trust you. Go a little bit deeper.
It just sends a message that okay, I don't trust you with what I really need. You know, I don't trust you with there's something going on there that's causing maybe it's a fear of judgment or something. It's I just don't trust you with what I need. That's pretty much the best I guess I can put
So
that.
here's
It's
what I hear
not
you
a
saying.
safe place.
You know, we were talking about an upcoming.
Space.
Here's what I just heard you say. We were talking the other day about an upcoming show that we want to do about the 5 dysfunctions of marriage. And we started talking about, what was the first one? When there's an absence of trust, what that gets is a lack of transparency and vulnerability. So what you're saying is, when there's an absence of trust because we're not having these conversations,
Right.